Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey, friends, will you join me for just a minute and imagine how awesome you'd feel living the unique and distinct life you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value to others. Well, that's what I call a life of significance. And I can tell you it makes for a very happy life. And so can my friend Joanna Klein. And she's here to share her unique and distinct journey to her life of significance. But before we bring her on, I'd like to share a poem that we created to thank her for being our guest star today. It's called The Meaning Within, and it goes like this. In the stillness between each page of time, our hearts cry out in rhythm and rhyme. Through reflections mirror, soft and clear, we find meaning within. It's always here. Joanna enters where stories heal, turning pain to purpose through loss revealed. Her words unwrap the gifts we hide, releasing the love that lives inside. Each story shared, each truth retold becomes a light for hearts grown old. Through her wisdom and grace, we begin again, becoming our best from the meaning within. Hey, Joanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. That's beautiful. I love how you give such a special gift of poetry to your guests. It's really, really wonderful.
Glad you enjoyed it. It's really fun to do. So why don't you get us started by telling us what you're doing these days to make your mark of significance on the world?
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Well, actually, the work I do is very much aligned with your mission, Matt. I'm the founder of a company called Journey to Legacy, and I help adults, midlife and beyond, uncover what's been truly significant in their lives, the
Hmm.
moments, the choices, and the experiences that help shape who they've become. So, through my online courses in life story writing and in life review, I guide people to see their lives as meaningful journeys rather than a series of scattered events. And from that place, they're able to transform their memories into insight, into healing, into stories that they can share with their loved ones, or even a sense of direction for their next chapter.
So you're saying we kind of make a mess of our memories.
We definitely can make a mess of our memories. We've been telling ourselves the same stories over and over again, and oftentimes those aren't the happiest stories. And so we get to really look at them from a different perspective.
So tell our audience the difference between your life in review, which is I think a 12-week course,
Yes.
live interactive course versus the Journey to Legacy e-course. Do I have that right?
Yeah, it's called, the e-course is called Uncover the Hidden Gems in Your Life Story. So yes, that is a course that is offered with 50 hours of video tutorials and 3 live coaching sessions. It's offered over the course of 12 months, 12 weeks, and people have lifetime access to the material. So that's for people who want to write their stories and capture them and really go deeper, write what's been meaningful and significant in their story so they can share something that resonates with the people that they love. So that's the life story writing course. And then the life review course is specifically for women 50 and over who don't necessarily want to write their life stories, at least maybe not right now, but do want to go and take inventory of their life, take a look and find maybe what have been their patterns, really take a look at their choices, let go of some regret, and have what reveals themselves to them about their lives inform their next chapter so that they can step into that next chapter with confidence and clarity.
That's great. Very good. All right, Joanna. So let's do a little mathematics so our friends all around the world can get to know you through our happy formula. It's super simple, but it's very powerful, and it goes like this. Power plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with power. What are your personal practices for creating all the power you need to get things done, whether it's physically or mentally, financially, spiritually, or emotionally? In other words, Joanna, what do you do on a regular basis to create the power you need to take excellent care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty of juice left over to be a giver to others?
I love this question. And we all have access to the same power. And for me, like the springboard of building power in every area that you mentioned, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, emotionally, is the power of choice. We
Mm,
get to choose how we care for our bodies. We get to choose what we put in our mouths. And we may not be able to choose every circumstance that life kind of offers us, but we do get to choose the meaning that we make of those experiences and what needs to happen next if we want things to change. And we get to choose the meaning that we give to our life stories. So that choice can be a shift for everything in how we view ourselves and how we view our lives and our gratitude, appreciation, our strength, our power of belief in ourselves. So we can actually train ourselves to look at our lives with a wider lens. And so
yeah,
for me, that practice builds the practice that is most powerful with that is being mindful and intentional in our choices, recognizing that whatever is going on, however we look at things, we get to choose the meaning that
yeah.
we give it.
Yeah, that reminds me of just I call it in my book, my second book, The Power of Priority. But it's a matter of personal responsibilities. You're talking about making the choice that's right for you, and that takes me to something I wrote about many years ago about personal responsibility and this idea that somebody will say, "Oh no, my pants don't fit me anymore." Hmm, your pants don't fit you, like it's the pants fault. No, your pants didn't change. You got too big. And so that's also, it's just a matter of choice or personal responsibility to realize in the power area, to realize that you need power. And so you need to make choices to give you the power that you need.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I love that. Yes, it's kind of like um, what one of the things that I really encourage my clients to do and in different workshops that I offer is that use of I statements. It's owning that's responsibility. It's like, no, it wasn't your pants that got too big. It's like something that I did created that situation. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's move on. You mentioned also you can't control circumstance, and so my favorite power generating concept is called a Kaizen state of mind. It's this beautiful Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And it's so powerful because it's about mindset, not circumstance. So Kaizening life is knowing I can always do something better tomorrow than today. And it creates a gentle, but a relentless and never ending power that keeps lifting me higher day after day after day. So, Joanna, how does Kaizening your life help you increase your power to continuously become more so you can continue to give more and impact even more lives?
Well, when we set goals for ourselves, whether they're big or small, there's always some level of discipline and consistency that's involved. So for me, it was starting my own business at the age of 67. For my clients, it's writing stories and being disciplined to sit down on a regular basis and write those stories, or if they're doing a life review to follow the exercises and explorations that I offer in that course. But we're human and we all have seasons where we get off track. So for me, the heart of Kaizen is that small, steady improvement begins with giving ourselves grace and releasing self-judgment.
Yes.
We can be our own worst critics, and it's easy to feel discouraged when we don't meet our own expectations. So, maybe we didn't keep up with the writing, or maybe we didn't keep up with the exercise routine, or maybe we had a whole pint of ice cream and we
Mercy.
were trying to be on a diet, so we're not necessarily operating in towards this goal that we've set for ourselves, but we always have choice, and we can focus on what we didn't do, or we can focus on what we did do. And maybe what we did instead was exactly what we needed right then at that point in time. So instead of like letting that hiccup get in the way, if we practice self-compassion, if we remind ourselves that growth isn't linear and that we keep moving along this winding road that's this very human path that we're moving forward, and that's what's most important.
Yeah. You made me think of another, as you age, there's certain things you can't, well, it's not just as you age, there's always certain things you can control and certain things you can't control. And as you age, you do lose energy, from full energy at birth to no energy at death. And that just happens. And so I was probably thinking and reflecting on aging a little bit. And I came up with this idea that even though I might not be as strong or as powerful or where I want to be at this particular age, because of my effort, I'm in better shape than I otherwise would be.
Mm,
Because I worry about my finances, even if my bank account is not perfect, it's better than it otherwise would be if I wasn't paying attention to it. So
yes.
better than it otherwise would be is a great escape hatch to say, all right, I don't like the way I look in the mirror quite as much as I used to, but it's better than I otherwise would be if I wasn't making an effort.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, let's explore purpose. That's the second part of our happy formula. And I've observed that major life transformations, those great big discoveries of purpose, often come from devastation, addiction, abuse, disease, death, disaster. Something horrible strips a life to its core, resulting in a big and often unexpected change. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share the transformational process that I've used to discover the purpose of my life using inspiration. So, how about you, Joanna? Was there a specific moment or event or crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the unique and distinct purpose you were meant to live?
Yes, there was a moment, a very real one. In my early 60s, my world fell apart. I was going through a divorce, and several years earlier, I had left my job as a college dean to work with my husband in his business. And so
Hmm.
when my marriage ended, my work ended too. And I was an empty nester. I was newly divorced, and then the things I had poured myself into for the last 10 years were no longer mine. And
Goodness.
around that same time, I lost both my mother and my sister, my only sibling, to illnesses. So it was
And
really truly a dark time, dark
I don't
night
know
of
if you
this. I
said it,
call,
but
pardon?
how, 10 years ago?
This all, yes, this was around 10 years ago. Yes, all of this was going on. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
continue.
I call it, my dark night of the soul. I mean, we all have these periods of time that where I say we go in the cave, where we really have to kind of really look at ourselves and find our strength and understand, what's going on. And so I was feeling very alone. I was depressed. I was hopeless about the future. I was filled with regret.
Yeah.
I had a lot of self-judgment, and I had that feeling that the best years of my life were behind me.
Yeah.
So one day I was reading a book, and this line just popped out at me, and it said, "Your life has been a good teacher and a good friend."
Wow.
And I really felt those words in my body. They just landed. And I hadn't been much of a journaler, but I ended up picking up a journal and I began writing. And I wrote
Mm.
about my marriage, I wrote about my career, my relationships, and I wasn't really looking for answers as much as I was just looking for clarity and some direction and from understanding for some understanding of how to step into the next chapter of my life. And so it was a really humbling experience for me, but out of that came this realization that I truly wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to start a business. I'd worked for others and had had a lot of creativity and ideas that I brought to the work that I did for others, but I wanted to create something that would serve people from around the world and that could be mine. So
Yeah.
I shared this idea with a friend who gently told me that I really didn't have any experience in this. And so I did something that was very hard for me to do at the time, and that was asking for help. I hired a business coach.
Oh,
And it was a turning point for me because I was investing in myself. In doing that, investing in myself and asking for help was really a profound shift. And it was from that Journey to Legacy was born.
beautiful. So as I was doing some research on this and I got to that part of your story, I was reminded of this quote from Ernest Hemingway. And he said, I'd like you to just tell us what this means to you. The world breaks everyone, and afterwards, some are strong at the broken places.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's so true. And it's like we have to be broken open sometimes in order to really get to what our purpose is, what's significant, what's most important. That, can be a humbling experience. It can just strip us raw, but it's an opportunity for some amazing things to show up and to see how much we are survivors and how strong we ultimately are.
Now, how old were you when you decided to become an entrepreneur?
So I started my business at the age of 67.
Okay, and tell our audience how scared, overwhelming, how did you push through all of the negative thoughts? Even your friends said, no, come on, Joanna, this is not your cup of tea. Because I think a lot of people have the feeling, but then they're not obedient to it. They don't follow through with it. So how did you muster the strength to do it?
Yeah. Well, again, it's choice on what I'm gonna let get in my way, and making the decision of really connecting with how much I wanted to do this, knowing and thinking, do I want to be on my deathbed and thinking, oh, I didn't do this because I was afraid of what others would think. I was afraid of being judged. I was afraid of putting myself out there. And really the answer was no, if I'm true to me, if I'm listening to what's calling me and trusting and allowing myself to go out of my comfort zone
Mhm.
and experience something new that's in me, that's calling to me, then that I'm gonna trust that I'm going to be going in the right direction and things are going to work out.
Yeah, I think as you think about the end of life, being on your deathbed and having failures in your past is one thing, but having regrets
Yes,
is another whole thing.
exactly. That's so well said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Well, thank you for all that, Joanna. Now let's take a quick commercial break so our sponsor can spread a little love with our audience.
Are you ready to transform your life? At happyliving.com, we've discovered 4 keys to help you live with purpose, joy, and significance. Unlock your truth with the Happy Quiz. Unlock your happy formula with inspiring stories from the Something Significant Show. Unlock your roadmap to happiness with our free ebook, Making Your Mark of Significance. And unlock your inspired life with our life-changing e-course, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life. This is your time to shine. Go to happyliving.com now and click Unlock the Power of You. Unlock your power. Live your best life. happyliving.com.
We are a community broadcasting network based in North Carolina, dedicated to providing accessible educational content to benefit everyone. Here at WYTV7, our mission is to provide transparency and integrity, sharing real-life touching stories that matter. We are an all-exclusive and diverse network, assisting others in youth empowerment training, helping the underprivileged, supporting and strengthening families and individuals, self-help awareness, giving scholarships, and helping essential community workers. Our mission is made possible by our wonderful volunteers, as well as supporters like you. Consider donating or volunteering with us to help us keep our mission going.
And we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm your host, Matt Gersper. And my special guest star today is Joanna Klein, a life story writing coach, counselor, and founder of Journey to Legacy, dedicated to helping people find healing, clarity, and purpose through the power of reflection and storytelling. Joanna guides others to uncover the wisdom in the stories of their life and transform their past into peace, meaning, and legacy. Her gentle, compassionate spirit reminds us that every story holds light and truth waiting to be discovered. And Joanna, I just love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to love this article that I found called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. It says that the simple act of giving can become a gateway to discovering your reason for being on the planet. The science confirms it, that when we give our time and our talents and our treasure, it doesn't just help others, but it transforms us too. It helps us overcome obstacles, it helps us find meaning, and it helps us discover our purpose. So I've updated the formula. Power plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. So how about you, Joanna? Has giving your time, talents, and treasures been a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose and for getting through hardships in your life and for bringing real meaning into your life?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, very much so. So for the last 15 years, I've been a volunteer with a global nonprofit dedicated to helping women trust their inner wisdom and know their significance. And so I've served on the facilitation team, leading deep healing and personal growth work. And I've spent 8 years on the board of directors. So during my time on the board, I created a new curriculum to teach women how to start and sustain support circles. So spaces where they could listen and share and walk together through their own growth. When I first joined the organization, I noticed that there were areas that needed to be improved, but I assumed, the people in leadership would take care of it. That was their responsibility. But at some point, I realized, I was the one who was seeing those needs because I was meant to play a part in meeting them. So instead of waiting, I stepped in. And, of course, there was now I was navigating resistance. I was learning on how to collaborate in that environment, how to advocate for change and be persistent. And it really wasn't always easy, but it built incredible strengths in me that I didn't expect. And it really was from that experience that I learned how satisfying it is to give without needing recognition or accolades. That when we give from that place, like freely and wholeheartedly, we often discover our real purpose. So noticing when something needs to be done, I think that's such a clue for people in terms of their purpose. And often there's this expectation that someone else is going to take care of it, when in fact it could be our calling of what it is that we need to do.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And it reminds me also of the idea around initiative, taking personal initiative, that it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you see something, I hadn't thought about it your way though, when you see something needs to be done and you're noticing it and you take action, and then especially if it makes you feel good,
Yes.
that's a sign that you're stumbling around in your purpose somewhere, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah. And at the same time, it's that kind of give and take that happens with it, because you might come up with resistance like I did within the organization. So it's understanding that it might not happen immediately, or it might be a process, but it's trusting that you've got this call and you have this vision on how things can be improved, or how you can give.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so the science tells us that giving to others helps bring real meaning to our lives, as we've been discussing. And the joy that we feel when we're doing work for others, doing work that creates value for others, that confirms it. But there's something more to it than just the giving, Joanna. I believe that the magic of life comes when you're giving from living in your purpose, because that's where the joy flows. And not just to the receiver, but to the giver too. And amazingly, even to people witnessing the giving. So Joanna, I'd love our audience to witness what that magic looks like in your life. So please sit back, open your heart, and have a listen to what people are saying about the impact you're making in their lives because you're giving from living in your purpose. One person said, "Her life in review rocked my world into new directions." Another said, "Her course helped me understand my past in new ways and have more compassion for myself and others in my life." And another, "Joanna treated me as an individual, even in the context of a group class. I'm an introvert and I sometimes fade into the background, but Joanna didn't let that happen." Still others said, "She helped me open myself up to possibilities. Joanna taught me to not go back, as a new mental reminder not to slip back into old routines." This person said, "I loved her course, Your Life in Review. She is supportive, outstanding, cutting edge, loving, kind, encouraging. I highly recommend her. I came to her to write my stories for my kids. I left with a completely new understanding of my life. Joanna enriched my life and helped me grow. I feel like I'm living a more balanced life in mind, body, and soul. Taking stock of her past helped me get out of denial and remember the present and future are happening quickly. I'm forever grateful for that reality check. Joanna has a great talent for bringing out your stories to help you figure and find your center. In a few sessions, I left feeling focused, unblocked, and calm." And finally, this person said simply, "Her course has literally been life-changing." So Joanna, how does all that incredible love make you feel?
I feel all tingly inside, um, and I feel so appreciative of and honored, appreciative of my clients and honored to be able to. I just consider myself being on the path with them. I gain from them. I gain so much from them as well. So thank you for doing the research on that. That's really touching.
You're welcome. And that's it, folks. That's what this show is all about. That look on Joanna's face right now. We're here, Joanna and me and all our guest stars, to encourage you, our listeners, to find that same magic in your life. It's available for you. It's available for each of us. That's what I believe. And it comes in this great big happy circle. Giving your time, talents, and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose. And then giving from living in your purpose brings a profound joy to your life and to the lives of those around you too. So it seems that giving leads to purpose and giving from purpose leads to joy. So Joanna, if I'm going to capture the entire exponential power of our happy formula, I'm going to need to tweak it just a little bit more to power times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power. And that's really, truly, deeply happy. Does that sound about right to you?
It does. Absolutely. Yes.
Very good. Okay, let's wrap things up with the lightning round. I love the power of words and the capacity for great, great quotes to change lives, as happened in your life. So I'm going to read a few of my favorites and ask you to tell us what they mean to you. Give us the very first thoughts that come to mind, Joanna, because we call this a lightning round.
Mhm.
Here we go. From the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18, it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit."
Mhm. Oh, yeah, I mean, the image that comes to mind for me are, that a period of time that I talked about, like being in the cave, which I teach in my courses, is like where we can feel so alone, and yet the reality is that we're not, and there's support for us, and there's something ahead for us, and we, we have it both within us and outside of us.
Yeah, that's great. This is from Viktor Frankl. He said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves."
Yeah.
So when we are no longer able to change the situation, we're challenged to change ourselves.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I love Viktor Frankl, and that's where the power of choice comes, that he writes about meaning and choice. And
Absolutely.
it's so true. I mean, we do have agency in our life. And when we look back on our lives and see our stories and recognize that we are, in fact, the star of our own life show, and the hero of our own journey, that we're able to recognize we can do what we feel called to do. We have the ability and the agency and the power to live that life of significance and see that our lives are significant.
Yeah, just touch on this a little bit. You mentioned it earlier. We have so much power in us that most of the time goes unrecognized, in my opinion. And so, what does it mean to you to unleash that power through the discovery of purpose? Is that how you find it? That's how I find it.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think people struggle with finding their purpose and they're trying to like define it. And ultimately, I think if we're trusting what's calling to us, that it's going to unfold, and that people often think of like purpose as this big thing and it has to be, like Mother Teresa quality. And when in fact it can be something so very simple as, just being the person who brings a smile to the face on the clerk that at the store that day. It's like we can best find that by just living truly aligned with what we are and understanding who we are.
Yeah, yeah. And being authentic.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, this is from Joseph Campbell. You've touched on this quite a bit through the whole show. He said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek."
Yes, yes, yes. And I use that in my course. And Joseph Campbell's hero's journey is definitely pulled into my course because our lives do go, our individual stories are on a hero's journey path when we start to look at it. And so this fear of going into deeper, looking at what we tend to avoid, what feels uncomfortable, because we didn't grow up learning how to deal with emotions for the most part. For the most part, we were told, don't cry, or I'll give you something to cry about, or don't raise your voice with me, or even joy was squashed sometimes if we were appearing too much. So we don't know how, we feel uncomfortable with these feelings, these deep feelings, but by allowing that, going into what Campbell calls the cave, is really where the magic is where the juice is, and we can start to embrace ourselves, not reject ourselves, but embrace. And when we accept, then we're able to be that much more empowered to take the action and to connect with what's most important and significant and purposeful.
Yeah, that's great. You reminded me, I heard on a podcast maybe a year ago or something like that, but as funny as could be. And they were talking about the anxiety that exists all through our society these days. And the guy said, if somebody asks you, did your parents ever ask you how you feel? And you say yes, then you're 50 years or younger. But if if you say, no, my parents never asked me how I feel. Matthew, how'd you feel today at school? What? Never happened.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I mean, and that is such a important piece for us to know. Like we have this notion of like, oh, I'm supposed to, even like looking at our situations when we talk about giving meaning to something and this bringing positivity to it. Well, we can have a difficult experience, and just going straight to the positivity bypasses something that's important, and that's the feeling that's attached to whatever it was. So it's important to allow ourselves to recognize and have compassion for ourselves for whatever it is that we're feeling around whatever it is in our life, whether it's our stories, whether it's what we're doing in the world, our disappointments, our pride, but to allow for that and then move forward from there.
Yes, yes. Okay, two more. This is from C.S. Lewis. He said, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending.
Ah, so true. Yeah, we can write our next chapter. Yeah, but understanding the beginning, understanding, seeing the patterns, understanding where we've come from, understanding who we've been, seeing how we've maybe played small, seeing what we want to change, but understanding that can help us make good decisions and what we want for ourselves, who we want to be as we step forward.
You talk about going back and remembering and making sense of your past. And it reminds me, there's an economic theory called Metcalfe's Law. Have you heard of Metcalfe's Law?
No.
So it's this idea that a community, a network of many things is more powerful, exponentially more powerful than a single thing. And so he explained this exponential power through the discussion of a fax machine when fax machines were first coming out. He was a Stanford professor, I think. And so he said a single fax machine by itself is of no communication value whatsoever. It's a paperweight. Two of them, now you have some value. 2,000, you have more value. 2 million, you have even more value. And I think what you're doing, and I wrote a post about this, that our varied experiences in life are those communication nodes. And the more experience I have, the more power I have in the network of Matt Gersper. And
Yes.
so I might experience something that was a horrible thing that happened in my past and see that as an opportunity to make a change for something in the future. And I'm the only one that could do that because I'm the only one that had all those experiences. And so I
Yes.
think what you're doing is using Metcalfe's law for people's life experiences.
Yes. 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 And by by looking at those experiences, particularly for those who want to share their stories with loved ones, by looking at those experiences from more deeply for the meaning, then there's such wisdom that can be universal truths that are shared with those who read it. They can connect. So, for example, my daughter contacted me one day and was saying how grateful she was that I was doing this work because of a story I had written and shared about something very vulnerable. She was going through something similar, and it helped her feel less alone. So
Mm.
it's that being honest and vulnerable and real about what we've been through and what we learned from it, that's not giving advice, that's sharing authentically. And through that, we're able to spread the wisdom and make the connection with those we want to share our lives with.
Yeah, very good. Okay, this is our show anchor. It's from Goff. And he said, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it. Go for it. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And so often we just hold back.
Yeah.
And so often it's due to fear of whatever, typically of being judged, of failing, but the satisfaction and the excitement and the creativity, and it makes us alive to be able to really be going for what's inside of us and exploring it.
All the stuff that holds us back, all those thoughts are make believe. They they've never happened. And so they might happen, but we're in this land of make believe, and that's really what we're after here, is trying to encourage people to say, no, let's step out there. It's okay if you fail, fall flat on your face, but just be moving in the direction that you think is towards your purpose and hold on to it.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I appreciate the work you're doing so much, Matt. This is really just wonderful to be able to share different people's experiences and such an important message that you're spreading. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Okay, my friends, now it's your chance to be a giver too. If today's show with Joanna Klein inspired and motivated you, then please share that enthusiasm with our amazing team at WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage people that are in need. Every gift matters, big and small. Your generosity is fueling change. With your support and their tireless work, lives are being transformed, and our circle of love keeps expanding. So donate today. It'll do good, and it'll make you feel good too. Joanna, I love the gentle compassion and calm wisdom that you bring to helping others find peace through their stories. And I admire the courage and strength that it took to overcome profound heartbreak in your own life and then turn it into a mission that brings healing and hope to others. And I'm super happy that you've shared your reflective, graceful, and transformative spirit on our show today. Will you please take a moment or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. And if what I said resonated with anyone who's listening, then I would love for you to come visit my website. It's journeytolegacy.com. And I also offer a free guide there on this as a starter kit for life story writing. So if it's something that interests you, and you can find information about my courses, both the life story writing course as well as the life review course on that site as well. So and yeah, I'd love to have you there.
Very good. Thank you, Joanna. And friends, it's because of stories like Joanna's and listeners like you that we've been named to one of the top 100 life purpose podcasts worldwide, ranked at number 17. So thank you. Thank you for supporting our mission and sharing these stories of inspiration and purpose. I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Joanna and reaching folks just like you ready to create your own extraordinary lives. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to social media and all things Joanna Klein. Find her, friend her, schedule a discovery call, grab that free gift she was talking about, and explore her journey to legacy and discover how reflecting on your story can bring meaning, healing, and hope to your life too. When you're ready, join one of our intimate groups of women, and let your transformation begin. You'll find all her links in our show notes. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com right now and click Unlock Here. Then start unlocking the life that you were meant to live, one that's filled with purpose and joy and real significance. And as you begin unlocking, think about what we can do together, you and me, to improve the happy of your world, one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome. And this is the Something Significant Show. And we're out.